Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Okay, it's Scare Talk. I'm Danny, and I'm here with the poisonous Joel.
Wow. All right. Hey guys, what's up? Really running out of words there. I'm poisonous, apparently.
I don't know where that came from. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Cabin in the Woods.
Everyone's favorite movie.
Yes. A lot of people love this one.
A lot of people hate it too. So.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people hate the ending.
I thought it was more love than hated.
It probably is a little bit more love than hated, but I've seen a lot of people just like hate on the ending itself. So,
all right, well, I'm gonna hate on
discuss
more than the ending.
Oh man, well, okay, well, we know what we're getting ourselves into right
now. But before we get into that, let's learn about Joel.
Oh, man, all right.
So, Joel, did you go camping growing up?
I did go camping growing up. Yep.
Did you ever go camping in a cabin in the woods?
I did not. We did it the real way, in tents.
Okay. All right. So what would you do?
I mean, it's been years since I've gone. I really want to go again at some point, but Yosemite was our spot.
Oh, really? I've never been to Yosemite.
Yeah, it's a really nice area. It just, last time I went, I was probably like 8, so it's been a long time. Okay. But I've gone like several, well, maybe 9 or 10. But I had gone several times, like once a year, basically, for a few years. Mm-hmm. We just go out in nature and walk around, go on hikes.
Okay.
And there was one. I think the last time we went, there was actually a coyote that walked through our campsite. Oh. And stared at me the whole time he was walking by. So, all right, that was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Little 8-year-old Joel.
Yep.
So scared.
And I was like, I was, I knew like not to move or anything like that. I would just like stare at the coyote as he walked by. He was like staring at me too. And coyotes really aren't, I mean, they can kill, obviously, but like if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
It's just when they're in packs is when you should probably be worried.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably the case for most.
Yeah, for most wildlife.
Most animals.
They'll leave you alone if you leave them alone.
Yeah. Okay, so I went camping this last summer.
Okay.
And in Mount Rose.
Mount Rose?
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds like a made-up place, but it's real.
Okay.
It's sort of near Reno.
Okay.
Next to Kings Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And went up there with some friends. Mount Rose, the mountain itself, is like... How high up was it? I want to say it's like 12,000 feet above sea level. So I didn't go all the way.
You didn't hike to the top of the mountain?
No. But I did go up to like 9 or 10,000 feet, which there was some like waterfalls and stuff, which was cool.
You're almost there. You might as well have gone up the rest of the way.
No, because the rest of the way was like I think the hike I did was 2.5 miles one way.
Mm-hmm.
But the air is so thin and just... It's a lot harder to do than just walking around here in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So that was hard. And then it was 2.5 back, so that was 5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been double that to go all the way.
Wow.
And go up another couple thousand miles above. So I was like, nah, that's okay. Or 1,000 miles. Feet,
yeah. That would have been pretty crazy. A couple thousand miles, whatever. We'd already gone 10,000 miles up. So.
But it was hard. Definitely one of the hardest things I've ever done was walking that trail.
You should go up Mount Rushmore. Or, not Mount Rushmore. Mount Everest. Not Rushmore. Mount Everest.
Hey, Mount Rushmore is going to be banned.
Yeah.
People are planning to explode it. So
man.
Blow it up. Okay, so, I thought of camping because we're going in a cabin.
Cabin in the woods.
In the woods. So let's start talking about that.
All right.
So who's in this film?
So this one, I don't want to say stars anybody because they all pretty much have the same amount of screen time. Okay. But Chris Hemsworth is one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to mention the ones he's most obviously known for, the Thor and Avengers movies. But he was in Snow White and the Huntsman, Red Dawn, Bad Times at the El Royale, and he's going to be in the Untitled, for now, Hulk Hogan buyout.
Yes! Yes!
He's going to be Hulk Hogan.
Yes!
Which I don't know. It's directed by Todd Phillips, too. So I'm like, I don't.
This is gonna be legit, man.
After Joker, I don't know, what he is anymore. As far as, is he a serious director? Is he a funny director?
This is gonna be a serious movie because the Hulkster, man, he's got a story. He's got a story to tell.
Oh man, I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a Netflix movie.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. Yeah.
I can't wait for that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
The Hulk
I had to mention it on here.
It has to be called Hulkamania. That has to be the name of it.
Oh, I hope it is. That would be amazing. Also, she was, her name's Kristen Connolly. She's the main female, the one that makes it through the whole movie.
Okay.
She was in Revolutionary Road.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, The Happening.
Okay.
Great movie. And Deep Water, which is a 2020 movie with Ben Affleck. I don't know anything about that one. That comes out this year, apparently.
Okay.
In November or something like that. And also Richard Jenkins. He was in The Indian in the Cupboard. This is a great movie.
That is a good movie.
Yeah.
And a good book.
Yeah, it's a great book. I read that in elementary school.
Oh, yeah.
Step Brothers.
Yes.
And The Shape of Water.
Okay. So this is the funny guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the dad in Step Brothers.
Oh, okay. Is that who I'm thinking of? Isn't there another funny guy in this? One of the guys that work for the company?
Yeah, he's one of them who worked for the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of then. Okay, go ahead.
It was written by Joss Whedon.
Okay.
He wrote the Avengers, Justice League, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, creator, and Alien Resurrection.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's got quite the he's got quite the filmography here.
Yes.
And also Drew Goddard. He wrote Cloverfield, World War Z, The Martian, and Bad Times at the El Royale.
Wow.
And it was directed by Drew Goddard, who directed Bad Times at the El Royale and The Good Place, 4 episodes. And that's really all that he's done as far as directing.
A Good Place?
The Good Place.
The Good Place?
Yeah.
What is that?
It was a TV show that ended last year, I want to say, or this year. Oh, last year, I think, with Ted Danson. It's like a NBC sitcom. It was good. I really liked that TV show.
Huh. Okay.
I'd recommend it.
All right.
So yeah, he's definitely more known for his writing than he is for his directing. But Drew Goddard. But yeah, that is Cabin in the Woods.
Okay. So this one is what people these days call meta.
Yeah.
Can you?
The kids these days.
Yeah, the kids these days. I hear that word thrown around a lot when it comes to horror films.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me what this means?
So, meta...
I feel like it's hard to put your finger on.
It really is. I want to say it's kind of like what people say breaking the fourth wall, which is basically when a character will look at the camera and like talk to the audience.
Yeah. So it's like a movie that knows it's a movie.
Said it's kind of like breaking the fourth wall, but it's not entirely. It is very confusing what meta actually means.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's grounded in reality.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes place in the real world where horror movies exist, but aren't real.
Yeah.
But, like, we know that horror is a genre of movie.
Yeah.
Or genre of film. It's not real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it takes place in a world where it's more real.
It is. It's a confusing.
It's
like,
really
concept.
hard to describe, but I hear it get thrown around so much.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, you guys need to define this better because I kind of get what you're coming at me with when you say that, but not really, because I feel like some movies are called meta when I don't know if I would consider it to be meta like other movies. So, like, people say Scream is meta because it takes place in a world where horror movies exist.
It basically... So, in Scream 2, for instance, when they're making fun of sequels, and that movie is a sequel in and of itself,
right?
That's be considered a meta statement, like a meta, like that whole scene. What could be described as a meta scene.
Okay. So it's like you're talking about a movie. You're talking about a movie, but you're actually talking about the movie you're in.
Yeah, without actually saying it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So learn something new every day.
It's still confusing,
but yeah, it is. It's a cool concept for like movies and stuff, and I think Scream may have been the first ones to do it.
Yeah.
And I think even Scream 1 was meta because I think with Jamie Kennedy's character, it was like the meta character in those movies.
Yeah.
Where he's talking about the rules of horror movies while being in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm starting to pick it up now. I'm starting to understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, we're gonna do some spoilers for this one.
You can't. I mean, the movie's been out for 10 years. That's,
Really has?
Yeah.
10 years?
I think 2010 is when it came out.
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's been out
since 2012. 2011.
Not 2010, 2011.
The latest 2011. Or at the earliest.
At the latest. I'm pretty sure it's 2010. 2011. All right.
So you're
Well, they were making it in 2010.
You're so far off.
This movie was being made in 2010.
So this movie... Alright, so this movie is about 5 friends going for a break at a remote... Going for a break, okay? At a remote cabin where they got more than they bargained for, discovering the truth behind the cabin in the woods.
Oh, man.
So this movie is like a cliche cabin in the woods movie on the surface.
Yeah.
And there's behind the scenes stuff going on with this cabin that these characters are unaware of.
Yeah.
Until later in the movie.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like it's trying to say something, this movie. And so you either like that or you don't.
Definitely trying to say something.
And
it either succeeds or it fails,
yeah,
depending on who
exactly.
you're talking to. Yeah.
And it basically there's like these people that are controlling what's happening in this cabin and in the surrounding environment.
They're making a movie.
Yeah, they're making
in
a movie
real life.
In real life, yeah. So they have these people go, not knowing that they're in a movie, and they manipulate things in order to scare them, or based on the choices that the characters make in the movie.
Yeah,
there's certain things that happen, right? And people are watching this, and you know, it's like a whole production.
Yeah.
So that's what is happening. So none of this stuff, is real, but it is at the same time.
Well, everything is real in the movie, but to the ones watching,
like it's being controlled. It's being controlled by people.
They set stuff up, but it can go different ways.
Right.
So each person does have their own their own thoughts. They depending on how they're feeling, they can change
depending on their actions.
Yeah, depending on their actions, they can change what happens in the story.
Yeah. But
they do influence a little bit.
Right. I guess that's what I'm saying.
To push it towards where they're wanting it to go.
It's not just organic. There's some manipulation.
There is some manipulation.
Especially when you can't even leave the environment at all.
Yeah.
So, okay. So there you go. That's kind of what we're dealing with. It's a horror movie. Kind of. Comedy.
It's a horror comedy for sure.
I would say more horror than comedy, but okay. Let's get into some of the specifics. Okay. What did you like?
I love the concept of this movie. I love the idea that as viewers we're watching a movie.
Yeah.
But it's like actually happening. It's like real to them, but it's just entertainment for us.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're watching a snuff film. But we don't know it's a snuff film.
Yeah.
I love that concept. I liked how cliche the movie is, but it's supposed to be that way. That's what they're going for in this entire movie.
Right.
And I love that whole concept. Cabin in the Woods is the most played out cliche.
Yeah.
Like
it's always a remote cabin in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
They went on
how many times are we gonna do this?
To a remote cabin in the woods.
Yeah. And having the movie be Cabin in the Woods, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. I remember on the surface.
Right. I remember when it came out, I didn't want to see it because of the title.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, another one of those. Wow.
Yeah, but it is a lot deeper than just Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
They kill off like everybody in the first 30 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
And that was pretty crazy. Like, there's still an hour left of this movie. What's gonna happen? There was like maybe there was one person left, and then another person you thought died,
right? But
died, quote unquote, died off screen. So when they die off screen, in movies and in TV shows, that usually means that they're not actually dead.
Yeah.
And so they come back. I don't know how he came back.
Yeah.
Because he did. He was, they went over like some hill where you couldn't see him, but you could hear him screaming. Right. So it's like, okay. He comes back just fine.
Right.
So the concept, the idea, how cliche the characters ended up being.
Yeah.
Like each character had their own cliche characteristic.
Yeah, you had the stoner, you had the black guy,
the jock, the slutty one.
Yeah.
The virgin. Like you had everything for a cliche horror movie.
Right.
And I liked that. I liked the comedy in it. Some of the comedy from when they go behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah.
Those guys are pretty funny. And the kill scenes were really cool too.
Yeah.
I like the kill scenes in this movie. Especially towards the end of the movie when they open the elevators and
That's a negative for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty cool. I don't know.
No.
I liked how, there's like a trap door that opens up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And they all go down there, and based on what they choose,
right? The combination they put in, or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever thing that they read or what they choose is what is going to be after them.
Right.
Which I think is I wish they hadn't read from the book.
Yeah.
Because that is a cliche that is kind of getting tiring.
Yeah.
Them reading from a book and then having that come to life, but that's the whole point of this entire movie.
Yep.
So I get it.
It's like the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Exactly, because it's in a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
There's this book, of course, and so.
Yeah. So it's like they're making Evil Dead.
Yeah.
So I liked all that stuff. It was definitely entertaining in that aspect. So, and some of the acting was good. I mean, it was average pretty much for what it was trying to go for. I think it was the exact acting that this required.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
yeah,
it wasn't too much, but it wasn't too bad either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say those are my positives here.
Okay. For me, the concept. I like the concept. I like movies like that. Mm-hmm. I guess meta. I guess I like that. Because it's more than just what's on the surface.
Yeah.
And it kind of messes with your head a little bit, which I kind of like. The stoner guy, he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I thought he played that role very well. Mm-hmm. Some of the kills, I think, were good. Don't really remember them very well. So maybe not. It didn't stand out to me that much. But that's about all for me.
Right. You were not a fan of this movie.
For positives, yeah.
So negatives
not
gonna
really.
be fun.
Not really. Not a big fan. I feel like it was cool, but not executed very well. Mm-hmm. At least to how I would have wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so let's start talking about that stuff. So you explain to me all your thoughts and about what they were really trying to say in this movie.
Okay.
And let me see if I change my mind.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So, I mean, under the surface of this cliche cabin in the woods type movie, they are making a movie for our entertainment. Yeah.
So is this movie watched by people like online or something?
It is. I don't know exactly how it's being like streamed or it's probably streamed. I would say that it's
it's live.
It would have to be. Yeah. It would have to be live for this. So basically the concept of the entire movie is there's so many people complain about how a movie is done. Like, people, what this is saying is basically if it's not done a specific way, then people will riot, people will complain about it, people will hate it. If it's not, like at the end of it, if because there has to be a final girl in these horror movies. Yeah. So if there's no final girl, then it goes against what a lot of people like.
What they want.
They want. And so the horror movies have to go a certain way to appease everybody.
There's a certain formula.
Yeah, it's a formula. So if you go against that formula, then people will riot, basically. It's they were talking about how with the final girl, like she doesn't have to live, but she has to be the last one standing. Yeah. At the end of it. Yeah. So at the end of it, when she dies before the stoner, and that's when like the hand goes up, and that's when the movie ends. That's because they're making a commentary about how that went against what people like in a horror movie, and so that's basically them saying that everyone hated how it ended.
Okay.
And they have to appease the gods, quote unquote gods, who are us, who are like the underground people, like watching this live.
Okay.
And so yeah, the end got very sci-fi.
Okay.
because of that whole thing.
I'm kind of getting it now. The gods that they're speaking of in the end
are us.
Is us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The watchers of this movie.
The watchers of the movie.
Yeah.
Of the horror genre like universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you have to do things a certain
it
way.
Has to be a formula to it, or
and if you break that, then
all hell will break loose, basically, in the horror community.
Okay.
And that's why a lot of people didn't like it, and that's why a lot of people did like it. That scene at the end of it is what kind of tore people.
Yeah.
Because if you're not familiar with like the horror formula to it, if you're not like a huge horror fan, you're a horror fan, but you're not I guess understanding the formula, like that there's a formula to horror movies.
Yeah.
Then those people typically don't like how it ends because they don't understand it too well. But
I have to say, I think, because I know horror formula and I know all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think I was taken out of it before that scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, okay, well, this is just getting dumber and dumber. So I didn't make the connection with the gods being the viewer.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't make that connection. That makes it a little better. A little better.
Yeah. It makes it meta.
Yes, it makes it meta. Yes.
And so that whole movie was just like it was a cliche. It was intentionally done to be a cliche, but at the same time it was done in an intelligent way.
Yeah.
To really like make the horror community understand that sometimes horror movies shouldn't have a formula to it. It's like it doesn't have to be a certain way for a horror movie to be done, but that's just what the average horror person in the community they like the formula to it. Or personally, I think it's kind of boring to have a formula that's done that way.
Are they saying the horror community or just mass appeal?
Probably mass appeal. Yeah, I would probably say mass appeal.
Because when we talk with people online and stuff, I think a lot of people who are in like horror Facebook groups or whatever, they like it to be switched up a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, they like the change and some originality and taking risks and things like that. So I think it's more so the mass appeal of what you go into a horror movie expecting as an average person.
Yeah.
And so I think that maybe is what it's trying to say more so is, this is what we have to do in order to get people to watch
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the gods are just the average horror viewer and not like the diehard fans of horror itself. And those are the ones that didn't like the ending because they didn't quite understand that there was that this was basically pointed at them and that they're the gods.
They're the problem.
Well, yeah.
You're just reinforcing the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of like that now.
Yeah.
What lost me was when they get to the underground and then these they're like going in different places in like their elevator.
Yeah.
And then different creatures are coming and it was just too much.
Well, depending on what they chose.
Yeah.
Those could have been what were attacking them.
Yeah. I know.
So opening up the elevator
So there's just these things all over that
they caught. Yeah.
It's just in this this underground area. There's all these different things that are just chilling, waiting to be called upon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I just thought that was just too much. It was just too much. And a lot of this stuff, I don't even like. I don't know. A lot of it was just goofy and silly when it came to those creatures coming through the elevators and stuff. Which I guess was maybe the point. But it was just too much. It was too over the top.
Yeah.
For me, where it didn't start that way. It started like maybe I did want it to just be an average formula horror movie because it started and kind of went in that horror direction, and then when they get underground, then it's like, okay, you guys completely threw away the whole movie and went this route. And you kind of know that there is some behind the scenes stuff because it goes back and forth between the characters and then the company that's putting this production on.
Yeah.
Which I liked until they figured it out. Mm-hmm. When they figured it out, then it turned into a different movie. And
with a revenge plot.
Yeah. And I did not like that there was like a force field. They couldn't leave because of this force field.
That part was, I mean, really, that whole force field was made basically just for Chris Hemsworth's character to die, like in a shocking way. Like you didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. That was really the only point to the force field. Like they can't. I feel like it's kind of cheating.
Yeah.
in this type of a world that they can't escape.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't unleash all these creatures into the actual world. If they chose, like, there was like a pterodactyl on one of them. Yeah, that's what I mean. You can't unleash that into the world, so it would have to be under some sort of a dome.
So dumb. Yeah, there's like dinosaurs.
Yeah.
See, that's when it went too far for me. I like horror when it's more subtle, and that was too much, but that was the point. Yeah. I just didn't like it.
The point?
I just didn't like that stuff. And that lasted for a little while. And, them trying to escape, and then the force field, and I'm like, okay, so nobody can win this? You can't escape? Like, by the time the force field thing happened, I was done.
Yeah.
I was done with it.
Wow, that was like the first, 30 minutes of the movie. When that happened. I was just,
like, what's the point? There's no intrigue for who's going to leave, who's going to survive. None of that. Everything kind of went out the window at that point. And so I kind of got lost in caring about the characters.
They could have probably fought back against those zombie type things. Yeah. There's ways that they probably could have lived and had this whole thing just end. Like they could have at some point, once there's one survivor left, once they think that the zombie or whatever is dead or whatever, they could have taken the dome off, because I'm sure that was something that was placed.
Yeah,
this invisibly, push a button and this invisible force field opens around them.
Yeah.
So I mean, they did say that there has to be the final girl the girl has to be the last one standing.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have to live. So it means that she could have lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So.
Yeah. It was hard for me to get behind at that point. And I don't know, I have a habit of doing that, especially lately. Like if a movie turns in a certain way and I'm like, oh, okay, we're going here, then I lose interest. And I don't care about the characters. And that is a negative, I would say. I don't think it was just because of that. The characters, I don't know if there was much of a connection. I mean, did you care about the characters?
Not really. I mean, I don't think you're really supposed to care, just because they're just the cliche.
Yeah.
And they don't live very long. Yeah. In the entire movie. I don't think you're supposed to build some sort of a relationship with these characters. You're not supposed to really care that much about what happens to them. It's the whole story overall that's supposed to be intriguing.
Yeah.
And draw you into it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, knowing a little bit more about the end and how that is supposed to be a commentary on something bigger.
Yeah.
It's not just this random thing.
Yeah.
Because when I saw it, I was just, what the hell? Okay, now we're doing this. It's okay, this is too much. Way too much. And, but it's like a metaphor. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a metaphor.
Is that where meta comes from?
I don't know. It's possible.
You just made that up. That's pretty good.
It's a metaphor. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where it came from. I have no idea.
Metaphor. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to look at the origin of meta. Or
you sound very uneducated right now on what meta means. I'm pretty sure we were close, if not on it, with like the Scream references and stuff.
Yeah.
But I liked how Sigourney Weaver made an appearance at the end. I kind of wish she got taken out by an alien.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been cool. It would have been a meta thing to do.
It would have been. Instead, she gets taken out by the little zombie girl.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So overall, I'll say it wasn't bad, like I originally thought.
Oh man, okay.
So you did kind of.
Is that like a
little bit
a letter grade?
I don't know about that, but it'll get an okay score.
Oh, okay,
we'll say that. But do you have any negatives?
I was saying that the characters you're not really supposed to care about too much, but I guess that would be considered a negative. I know it's probably not, you're not supposed to like them, but I kind of like to root for characters in horror movies. Yeah. I mean, they're not bad characters. They're just whatever, cliche, typical characters in these types of movies. Also, as much as I love the concept of it, I don't like the characters behind the scenes. Yeah. Like, at all. They're just not good people. No. Like, they're setting up real people dying. Yeah. Like, and they're placing their bets on how they die.
Like, betting on it. And...
I'm just like, really? Yeah. Like, you've done this so many times that you're this desensitized by the fact that you're killing people.
And there was one guy who, seemed to not know that this was happening.
Yeah, he was new to the company.
How the hell do you get a job there?
I don't know.
And not know what they're doing?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I mean, this place is underground.
Work security or something like that. I don't know.
This place is underground with all these creatures somehow there. Yeah. And you don't know? That was weird, too. I was thrown off with that. Is this guy going to, try to save the day? Or,
he's the hero of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he could have... it looked like he was a security. Yeah. He was working security. So it's possible that he's not with them. Yeah. But he's with, whatever security company he got the job through. So it's possible that he may not have known.
Just want insiders working inside.
Yeah, you would definitely
think that. It's a very underground thing to do.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't think you would have an outsider coming in and doing anything there. Or even knowing that it exists.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was kind of weird. But you've got to have the one character that's got some sort of a conscience about what's going on, even though he doesn't do anything about it. He's a good guy because he didn't place bets on you how they're going to die. So,
I just thought that was kind of like a throwaway. Yeah, okay, he didn't know, but he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I mean, at that point, when there's creatures attacking you and stuff, I mean, it's not a whole lot you can do. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Those characters, as cliche as the other characters were, they were not good characters, whatsoever. So I am glad that they all ended up dying.
Yeah, they did.
So everybody dies in this movie. Mm-hmm. Even the whole world dies in this movie. A hand comes up and just smashes the world.
The whole world
dies. The whole world dies. Yes, we kill the world. We kill the horror genre. The entire genre dies because the average person didn't like how this movie ended.
Right. It didn't play by the rules.
Nope, they did not.
So
they went off script.
So therefore, you die.
The whole genre. That's pretty much what it was saying. So, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot that I didn't like about this movie. I actually really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It does get a little bit more in the sci-fi range when Sigourney Weaver comes in to the picture, which kind of threw me off a little bit, but at the same time, they needed a way of explaining this movie.
Right.
So in a way, it was distracting, but in a way, that was needed.
Right.
So it's probably a neutral then at that point. But after knowing what's happening and stuff, it I enjoyed the I don't want to say the payoff because I didn't like how it just abruptly ended with the hand coming up. That was a little weird, but
when I saw that, because you really liked this movie, I knew that.
Yeah,
it was after we had done our top 10 of the last decade or something like that.
It was.
And this was in there.
Yeah,
and so
I think it was honorable mention, but it was in there.
Okay, so I was like, okay, I got to see this again because I did watch it once, and I think I fell asleep or something, or I was distracted or whatever.
Yeah,
but so I was like, I got to see that again. So then I watched it, and then the ending came, and I was so like, why? Why did you like this movie? What the hell? That ending was just like, what? It's so dumb. But it makes sense. It's just the way that they chose to go about doing that was kind of weak. That
was a little bit weird, but they had to show somehow that we were unhappy with how this movie ended.
Get slapped.
So yeah. So
the hand of God.
Yes, the hand of God. The gods. We are gods in the horror community.
You got a godsmack.
Yeah, you did. So I don't really know of any other way they could have conveyed that we were unhappy with how that movie ended without, the end of the world, basically, is what happened there. So, yeah, I have very mixed feelings about that whole, last 5 or so minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
It was definitely creative and new. It's not something that has really been done before.
Yeah. This
type of a movie.
And this is not a movie you can really do again. This is like a once in a lifetime type of deal.
Yeah.
You can't really do this again because then it's like you're
it's
just
already
copying
been done. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas you can copy horror movies all day long, but this is one you can't.
Yeah.
Because it's so original that if you copy it, then it's so obvious.
Yeah.
That you're pretty much ripping this movie off.
Yeah.
So.
It really is. Unless you reboot it. But
yeah.
Which I hope they don't do. Yeah. Because I feel like if they reboot a movie like this, it's just going to confuse more people. They're not going to be able to I mean, it confused a lot of people for sure. The ending did. But I feel like they would try too hard in one way to convey what they're trying to convey, and it would just make more people confused at the end of it.
Yeah, I'm finding myself to be more confused in movies these days. For some reason, I didn't get this one. Yeah. I got the concept, but I didn't get that ending that you were explaining very well, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And then Tenet. I watched Tenet. I still can't get over that movie. And then my wife, just explains the whole movie to me.
Oh, she got it?
You understood this movie? She's so detailed on it too, and I'm like,
wow.
What? How did you? We watched the same thing.
Yeah.
Man. So, I don't know. I'm losing my mind, I guess.
Man. Gotta watch Inception again and see if you still understand
I did see that not that long ago. Oh, okay. I did understand it. It was still... I was still able to follow it. Yeah. So that's good.
Oh, man.
So I already mentioned my negatives pretty much as we were talking. Yeah, just, don't really care about the characters.
Yeah.
I didn't like all the creatures in the elevators and stuff, and thought that was too much overkill with what they already had set up. We already understood that these things were brought on by the company.
These people had to die. Because they're horrible.
They did, yes.
They're horrible
but it
people.
didn't have to be that much. Did there have to be that much? No.
No.
It didn't have to be that extreme.
Yeah.
And, they definitely had fun making this movie. You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And so, You know, and just the creatures, like there was like clowns and just things that aren't appealing to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's Pennywise. Like.
Yeah, no, but they were lame.
I mean, it was total like knockoff Pennywise.
Yeah, they were lame.
Look like them.
Yeah, they just every version of horror that they were going for with the different creatures and scary stuff they were trying to throw in was weak to me. It wasn't done well.
It was like a CGI bloodbath, basically.
Yeah.
It was like, when they open up the elevators and everything just comes out and just like it's just nonstop blood everywhere.
Yeah. And those things, everything that came out just wasn't scary, and it was all CGI. Yeah.
Did you see The Strangers?
I did see that. Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do remember kind of liking that.
Yeah.
But all the other stuff.
And then I think there was like Pinhead or whatever. I remember exactly. I think it was Pinhead, like a knockoff Pinhead.
Mm-hmm.
Before the elevators open, when they're going down the elevator and they see this, she sees this guy with like, I think there were pins on his face. Pretty sure it's Pinhead. And she just like freaks out. I'm like, okay, I don't know why you're freaking out right now, unless you know this movie. It's like
it's meta,
more meta. Yeah, the movie Pinhead exists. Maybe that was one of the story, like one of the.
One of the things they could have chosen, right?
Pinhead, but like the original Pinhead
Hellraiser.
movie, maybe that was, maybe they had sense. That was like Cabin in the Woods, but with Pinhead, like they had set up everything for that horror movie.
Oh, okay.
Originally back in
the 80s. You're
going
too far now. You're going too far.
Maybe that's how she recognized him.
Oh man! So this is like a sequel to Hellraiser, apparently.
Yeah, the sequel to Hellraiser.
Oh man! Wow. I'd like for you to be able to explain that a different episode. So yeah, those are my biggest complaints.
Yeah,
and but now that you explain it a little more, I kind of like it. So let's go for some grades.
All right.
What do you think?
So for creativity, alone for this movie, I am going to give this one like an 85.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good score. You really like this one.
I did. I really like this movie.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go, I was going to go in the 60s.
Oh, wow.
Before.
Jeez.
I'm going to go 72.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was an average movie. Okay.
Yeah. There was a good amount that I didn't like, but for the overall message they're trying to get out, I appreciate the message.
Yeah.
So I can get on board with that. I can get behind that. So.
All right.
So yeah, all right. That was cool. You think they're gonna make another one of these?
I hope not. Like this is like you were saying, a one in a lifetime type of thing. It would
like a sequel.
I don't know how you can make a sequel to this. I really don't. Like they pretty much closed the door.
Yeah.
On any type of sequels or spin-offs of this. Yeah. After
a lot of people like this movie.
Yeah.
So, but it's been out for so long now. It's probably too late to do a sequel. If you're
making sequels to Avatar, so that movie came out before this one did.
Yeah.
So
whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, as far as any sequels or anything like that, like I mean, I guess you could. I don't know how. I'm not a writer, so I don't know in what way you would sort of make any type of a sequel. You could maybe do this with a different genre of movie.
Yeah.
Not horror, like an action or a comedy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This is a one-off for sure.
Yeah.
Like you can't make a sequel or a spin-off to it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, for the right amount of money, you probably could.
Yeah.
Figure something out, but I wouldn't want them to. So.
Yeah, and everybody died that worked in this company.
Yeah,
and
unless they've got more places
more
like this.
Places.
Throughout the world.
That's what I was thinking. If they were going to do a sequel, it'd be like the same thing, just with a different group of people.
Yeah.
And a different company, and so.
Yeah. Maybe.
Could happen.
maybe someone makes some sort of throwaway comments about this movie. Like, I heard that they all, like, in a different part of the world, like, they all ended up dying or something like that.
Yeah.
Some sort of throwaway comment to make it connected to Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
But I hope if there's writers, they're not listening to this right now, because I don't want them to write this.
Maybe we should write it. I would get way too confused.
I wouldn't want to try to tackle this concept.
All right. Well, that is it for Cabin in the Woods. You can find us on Facebook. We're at Scare Talk Podcast. We're at Twitter, at Scare Talk Pod. You can listen to us all over the world and underground.
Yes.
On many different streaming platforms for podcasts. And so, yeah, this has been the episode for the 2011 film Cabin in the Woods.
Sleep tight.
Don't let the hand of God bite.